Welcome to Reflect with Ed Fassio. Get ready to experience one of the world's first 100% digitally generated podcasts, where we take a step back, dive deep, and strive to learn new things. Join us as we unpack thought-provoking ideas, personal reflections, and inspiring stories to help you stay in the know. Reflect is brought to you by the minds at ByteBrain and powered by emerging technologies from Google, HeyGen, OpenAI, and 11 Labs. Thanks for tuning in. Now, relax and prepare to reflect.
Welcome to Reflect, one of the world's first 100% AI-generated podcasts. Today, we're diving deep into dementia. You've probably heard the narrative.
Oh, yeah.
The one that paints Alzheimer's as this inevitable decline, this steady march towards forgetting everything and everyone you love. But guess what?
What?
That old story is getting rewritten.
Yeah.
You're about to hear why.
It's true. The narrative is changing. For years, dementia research felt like a slog, like we were just trying to manage the symptoms without truly understanding the disease itself. But things are different now.
Oh.
We're seeing glimmers of real hope.
I like it.
Not just in managing decline, but actually in modifying the disease's course.
Yeah, we're not just talking about some sterile lab results here. We're talking about real people.
Yeah.
People who were handed this diagnosis and said, hell no, I'm not going down without a fight.
Yeah.
Their stories, let me tell you.
Okay.
They're nothing short of inspiring.
These individual experiences are so powerful because they challenge the traditional assumptions surrounding dementia. They remind us that each case is unique, that there's no one-size-fits-all approach, and that resilience and hope can truly make a difference.
Okay, for example, let's talk about Frank McNear.
Okay.
Diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's over 10 years ago. Think about that for a second.
Wow.
Over 10 years.
Yeah.
This guy refused to accept the typical prognosis.
Good for him.
He decided to take a precision approach to his health, basically treating his body and mind like a high-performance machine.
This approach reflects a growing trend in medicine called personalized medicine.
Okay.
It's the idea that treatment should be tailored to the individual, considering their unique genetic makeup, lifestyle factors, and even their response to different therapies.
So Frank went all in nutrition, exercise, cognitive training.
Wow.
You name it, he did it. And hold on to your hats, folks, because this is where it gets wild.
Okay.
Frank didn't just slow down his decline.
Oh, wow.
He actually saw improvement.
That's amazing.
This isn't just maintaining.
Right.
This is reversing the damage.
Yeah.
And that, my friends, is damn near revolutionary.
Frank's story is exceptional.
Yeah.
But he's not alone.
Okay.
Dr. Dean Ornish's clinical trial also showed remarkable results.
Okay.
Using a holistic approach.
Okay.
Imagine this: a plant-based diet, exercise, and mindfulness meditation, and people are actually getting better.
Yeah, and when I say better, I mean participants like Cece Zerby and Simon Nichols reported improvements. Wow. In memory, cognitive function, and overall well-being. It's like they hit the rewind button on their brains.
Yeah.
And that's got scientists buzzing.
What's exciting is that these personal triumphs are starting to align with a growing body of scientific evidence.
Okay.
We're learning that lifestyle plays a crucial role in brain health.
Right.
Not just in preventing decline, but potentially in reversing damage.
So it's not just about popping pills anymore.
Right.
It's about taking a holistic approach, treating the whole person, not just the disease. And speaking of pills, let's talk about the medical breakthroughs that are shaking things up. For years, it was all about managing symptoms, but now, holy shit.
Okay.
We're talking about actually modifying the disease itself.
It's a watershed moment in dementia research.
It is.
In 2023, the FDA-approved lecanemab, also known as Leqembi, a drug that actually targets amyloid-beta plaques in the brain.
Okay, break it down for us non-scientists.
Sure.
What's the big deal about these plaques?
For a long time, scientists believed that these amyloid-beta plaques were a key culprit in Alzheimer's.
Okay.
They're like clumps of protein
Right.
that disrupt communication between brain cells,
Yeah.
leading to cognitive decline. Lecanemab is designed to clear out these plaques,
Okay.
potentially slowing or even halting the progression of the disease.
So it's not a cure, but it's a damn good start.
It is.
And then in 2024, bam, another Windonomab or Kisunla gets FDA approval.
Wow.
2 new weapons in our arsenal.
Yeah.
Both targeting those pesky amyloid plaques. It's like we're finally hitting back, you know?
It's a remarkable shift.
Yeah.
We're moving from a purely defensive strategy to a more offensive approach.
Yeah.
Targeting the underlying mechanisms of the disease rather than just managing the symptoms.
Okay, so we've got these personal victories.
Right.
Groundbreaking new drugs, and the momentum is building. But here's where I get really excited. The research horizon.
Oh, yeah.
This is where things get a little geeky, a little out there.
I like geeky.
But trust me, it's worth it.
Always up for a bit of scientific exploration. What's caught your eye?
Well, there's this study out of UC Berkeley that's turning heads. They're challenging the long-held protein misfolding theory of Alzheimer's.
Interesting.
The very theory that led to the development of those new drugs we just talked about.
It's always exciting when researchers challenge conventional wisdom.
Yeah. So what are they proposing instead?
They're saying that it's not just about the presence of those amyloid plaques,
Right.
but about the cellular stress response they trigger. It's like the plaques are setting off a chain reaction of damage within the brain cells.
Okay.
And that's what's ultimately leading to cognitive decline.
That's a fascinating shift in perspective.
Yeah.
It suggests that we might need to focus not just on removing the plaques,
Right.
but also on mitigating the cellular stress response they provoke.
Exactly. It opens up a whole new avenue for treatment, a whole new way of thinking about Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
It's like we've been looking at the problem through a narrow lens, and now we're finally zooming out to see the bigger picture.
And that's what scientific progress is all about.
I agree.
Continually questioning assumptions, exploring new avenues,
Right.
and refining our understanding of complex phenomena.
Okay, but hold on. It gets even wilder. Researchers are now looking at repurposing cancer drugs
Oh.
for Alzheimer's treatment.
You heard that right. Cancer drugs.
It might sound counterintuitive,
I guess.
but it actually makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
There's this cancer drug that targets an enzyme called IDO1.
Right.
And it turns out that this enzyme plays a role in boosting glucose metabolism in the brain.
Wait, I'm starting to see the connection. Isn't glucose metabolism all messed up in Alzheimer's patients?
You got it.
Okay.
The idea is that by using this cancer drug to target IDO1, we could potentially improve glucose metabolism in the brain.
Yeah.
And in turn, improve cognitive function in Alzheimer's patients.
Damn, that's some serious scientific detective work.
It is pretty cool.
So we're basically taking a drug that was designed to fight cancer
Yeah.
and using it to potentially treat Alzheimer's.
Yep.
Talk about a plot twist.
It's a testament to the ingenuity of researchers and their willingness to explore unconventional approaches.
I like it.
And the beauty of drug repurposing is that it can significantly speed up the development process. We already have a drug that's been tested and approved for another purpose.
Right.
So we can potentially bypass some of the lengthy and costly stages of drug development.
That means faster access to potential treatments.
Exactly.
Which is a huge win for everyone affected by Alzheimer's.
For sure.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here. Personal stories, medical breakthroughs, mind-blowing research. And I'm feeling pretty damn optimistic.
Me too.
But before we get too carried away,
Yeah.
I think it's important to acknowledge the reality that dementia isn't just about the individual diagnosed. It's about their family, their friends, their entire support system.
Absolutely. Dementia is a shared experience.
Yeah.
And the emotional and practical challenges for caregivers can be immense.
Right.
It's a journey that takes a toll on everyone involved.
Which is where technology comes in.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a cure, but it can be a game changer when it comes to supporting both patients and their caregivers.
Okay.
Think about it. Wearable sensors that can track vital signs, behavioral patterns, even sleep quality. That's peace of mind for caregivers.
Yeah.
Knowing they can get alerted to potential issues before they become major problems.
And don't forget about the incredible advancements in apps.
Right.
Designed specifically for people with dementia.
Yeah.
These apps offer everything from memory aids and visual cues to scheduling support and social interaction platforms.
Wow.
It's about empowering individuals to maintain their independence and engage with the world around them for as long as possible.
That's the key, isn't it?
It is.
Preserving independence, dignity, and quality of life.
Yeah.
Technology isn't just about managing the disease.
Right.
It's about supporting the human being living with that disease.
Exactly. And as these technologies become more sophisticated and integrated into our lives, we need to be mindful of the ethical considerations.
Right.
Data privacy, autonomy, the potential for misuse. These are all important conversations we need to have as a society.
Right on. It's about finding that balance between benefit and risk, ensuring that these technologies are used responsibly and ethically. Okay, we've covered a ton of ground here.
We have.
And I'm honestly feeling a surge of hope.
Me too.
It feels like we're finally making some real progress in the fight against dementia.
Yeah.
But before we get too ahead of ourselves,
okay,
let's take a step back and explore some of the other promising avenues of research that are emerging. Stay tuned.
Can't wait. Welcome back to Reflect. Before the break, we were getting pretty fired up about the progress being made in dementia research. From personal triumphs to medical breakthroughs, there's a lot to be optimistic about.
Optimistic is an understatement.
Yeah.
I'm practically bouncing off the walls here with excitement.
I hear you.
But amidst all this good news,
yeah,
let's not forget that dementia, particularly Alzheimer's, is still a formidable foe. There's no cure yet.
True.
And the road to effective treatments is long and winding.
You're right. It's important to acknowledge the challenges, but even with those challenges, there's a sense that we're turning a corner, that we're gaining ground in this fight.
I like it.
And one of the most promising areas of research that we haven't even touched on yet is the role of the gut microbiome.
Oh, yeah. The gut microbiome? That's been a hot topic in health and wellness for a while now.
It has.
But what the hell does it have to do with dementia?
Well, it turns out that those trillions of bacteria living in our gut microbiome, have a much bigger impact on our overall health than we ever imagined. And emerging research suggests that they might actually play a role in the development and progression of dementia.
Wait, seriously? So, like, what we eat could actually be influencing our risk of developing dementia?
It is.
That's kind of mind-blowing.
It is mind-blowing, and it's an area of intense research right now. Studies have shown that people with Alzheimer's disease often have different gut microbiome compositions compared to healthy individuals.
Oh, wow.
And there's growing evidence that certain gut bacteria might contribute to inflammation in the brain, which is a key factor in Alzheimer's.
Okay, so if those bad bacteria are contributing to the problem, could we manipulate the gut microbiome to actually help prevent or treat dementia?
That's the million-dollar question, and scientists are exploring several avenues,
such as
dietary interventions,
probiotics,
even fecal microbiota transplantation.
Oh, hold on.
These are all being investigated as potential ways to alter the gut microbiome, potentially slow down or even prevent cognitive decline.
Fecal microbiota transplantation. Okay, that one sounds a little intense.
Yeah.
But hey, if it works, I'm all for it.
It's definitely not for the faint of heart.
Seriously, though, it's incredible to think that something as seemingly simple as changing our diet could have such a profound impact on our brain health.
It really highlights the interconnectedness of our bodies. And the importance of a holistic approach to health and well-being.
Okay, so we've got the gut microbiome playing a role, new drugs targeting amyloid plaques. What else is cooking in the world of dementia research? What about stem cell therapy? I've heard whispers about that being a potential game changer.
Stem cell therapy is definitely a hot topic in regenerative medicine.
It is.
And it's being explored for a wide range of conditions, including dementia.
I get the concept of stem cells, these magical cells that can transform into any type of cell in the body. But how would that even work for something as complex as the brain?
The idea behind stem cell therapy for dementia is to use these stem cells to repair or replace damaged brain cells. It's like giving the brain a fresh supply of building blocks to regenerate and heal itself.
So you're basically trying to regenerate the brain.
In a way, yes.
That sounds like something out of a science fiction movie.
It does sound futuristic.
It does.
But there have been some promising early studies in animal models. Researchers have transplanted stem cells into the brains of mice with Alzheimer's-like symptoms. And they've seen improvements in cognitive function.
Wow.
It's still early days, but the potential is definitely there.
That's incredible. But how far away are we from seeing this kind of treatment in humans?
That's the big question.
I mean, the brain is a pretty delicate organ, and I imagine there are a lot of safety concerns.
You're right. There are definitely challenges to overcome. Safety is a top priority.
Of course.
And we need more robust clinical trials to determine the effectiveness and long-term effects of stem cell therapy for dementia. But the early results are encouraging. And it's an area of active research that holds a lot of promise.
It's mind-blowing to think that we might one day be able to regenerate damaged brain tissue. That would be a revolutionary breakthrough, not just for dementia, but for a whole range of neurological conditions.
It would indeed. And that's what's so exciting about dementia research right now.
I agree.
There's a sense that we're on the cusp of major breakthroughs.
Yeah.
And the possibilities seem endless.
I'm with you on that. It feels like we're finally starting to crack the code of this complex and devastating disease. But treatment is only one side of the coin, right?
True.
What about prevention and early detection? It seems like the sooner we can identify those at risk or in the early stages of dementia, the better our chances of intervening effectively.
You're absolutely right. Prevention and early detection are crucial.
They are.
And that involves understanding the risk factors for dementia, which go beyond just age and genetics.
Okay, so age and genetics are factors, but what else is at play here? What can we do to reduce our risk?
Well, lifestyle factors play a huge role.
Like what?
Things like diet, exercise, sleep, stress levels, and social engagement all contribute to brain health. It's really about taking a holistic approach to your well-being.
So it's basically the same stuff we hear about for overall health.
Pretty much.
Eat right, move your body, get enough sleep, manage stress, and connect with others.
Exactly. It all comes back to taking care of yourself both physically and mentally. And when it comes to brain health, that also means keeping your mind sharp.
Oh, like brain training games and puzzles?
Yeah.
Does that stuff actually work? My grandma swears by her daily crossword puzzle.
There's some evidence to suggest that cognitive training can help improve memory and other cognitive skills.
Okay.
It's like exercise for your brain, helping to keep it agile and resilient.
I'm all for a good brain workout. But what about more serious stuff like head injuries? I know those can increase the risk of dementia later in life.
You're right. Traumatic brain injury is a significant risk factor for dementia.
Yeah.
Particularly repeated injuries. Protecting our heads is crucial.
Right.
Not just for immediate safety, but for long-term brain health.
That's scary. So wearing helmets when biking or playing contact sports, taking precautions to prevent falls.
Right.
These things can make a big difference down the road.
Absolutely. Prevention is key.
It is.
And that includes being aware of the risks and taking steps to mitigate them.
Prevention is key. But what about people who are already showing signs of cognitive decline? What can they do?
Early detection is crucial. If you or someone you know is experiencing memory problems or other cognitive changes, it's important to see a doctor as soon as possible.
Right. Don't just brush it off as senior moments.
Exactly.
Get it checked out.
Yeah.
But what if it is dementia? What happens then?
Well, a diagnosis of dementia is never easy.
Right.
But it's important to remember that there's still hope. With the right support and treatment, people with dementia can live meaningful and fulfilling lives.
That's so important to remember. A diagnosis doesn't mean the end of life as you know it. There are still ways to adapt and thrive.
Exactly. And that's where a holistic approach to care comes in.
Okay.
It's not just about medical treatment, but also about providing emotional support, social engagement, and practical assistance to help people with dementia maintain their independence and quality of life for as long as possible.
So it's about creating a supportive and nurturing environment
that
recognizes the individual's needs and helps them live their best life, even with dementia.
Precisely. And that involves the whole community. Families, caregivers, healthcare professionals, and society as a whole.
Wow.
We all have a role to play in creating a more dementia-friendly world.
Well said. It's a collective effort, and we all need to step up and do our part. You know, with all this talk about treatment and prevention, it's easy to get caught up in the science and the medical jargon.
Right.
But at the end of the day, dementia is a human story.
It is.
And it's important to remember the individual experiences behind the statistics.
You're absolutely right. Each person's journey with dementia is unique.
Yeah.
And it's important to approach this disease with compassion, empathy, and a deep respect for the individual.
And speaking of individual experiences, I came across a story that really blew my mind.
Okay.
And completely shifted my perspective on this whole thing.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Did you know that there are actually people out there who have a genetic predisposition to Alzheimer's disease, but never develop it? Like, they have the genes that make them more susceptible.
Wow.
But they somehow dodge the bullet.
Yeah.
How crazy is that?
That is fascinating. It really speaks to the complexity of this disease.
Yeah.
And the fact that genetics is just one piece of the puzzle.
Right. It means that there are other factors at play.
Right.
Things we can potentially control that might protect us from developing dementia, even if we're genetically predisposed. It's like having a loaded gun pointed at you.
Okay.
But somehow the trigger never gets pulled.
That's a powerful analogy. And it's a message of hope.
It is.
It means that we're not just victims of our genes.
Right.
We have agency in our own brain health.
Exactly. We have the power to make choices that support our cognitive well-being throughout our lives.
Yes, we do.
And that's something worth fighting for.
Absolutely. It's about taking charge of our health, advocating for research, and creating a future where dementia is no longer a threat, but a challenge we can overcome.
And you know what? That brings up another important point. All this incredible research and these groundbreaking treatments, they don't exist in a vacuum.
True.
They raise all sorts of ethical and societal questions that we need to grapple with.
You're right. The advancements in dementia research are forcing us to confront some tough questions about how we approach healthcare aging and the very nature of what it means to be human. And those are conversations we can't afford to avoid.
Exactly. So let's dive into those tough questions, shall we? Stay tuned as we explore the ethical and societal implications of this brave new world of dementia research.
Welcome back to Reflect. We've been on quite a ride today, haven't we? From personal stories of resilience to mind-blowing scientific breakthroughs, we've really delved into the evolving landscape of dementia research.
It's been an emotional roller coaster for sure. On one hand, there's this surge of hope, this sense that we're finally gaining ground in the fight against dementia. But on the other hand, we have to face the reality that these advancements come with a whole set of ethical and societal challenges.
Exactly. It's not enough to just develop new treatments and technologies. We have to think carefully about how they'll be used, who will have access to them, and what the implications are for individuals, families, and society as a whole.
Okay, so let's dive into some of those tough questions. We've talked about these promising new drugs like lecanemab and donanemab that can slow cognitive decline. But they come with some pretty serious risks, right? Brain swelling, bleeding. That's not something to take lightly.
Absolutely. And that raises the issue of informed consent. How do we ensure that people with dementia whose cognitive abilities might be impaired can truly understand the risks and benefits of these treatments and make informed decisions about their own care?
That's a huge question.
Yeah.
And it's not just about the physical risks. There are also ethical considerations around things like quality of life. Is it always in the best interest of the individual to prolong life, even if it means living with a debilitating condition?
These are deeply personal and complex questions, and there's no easy answer. It requires a nuanced and compassionate approach that respects the individual's values, wishes, and autonomy. And it underscores the importance of having these difficult conversations early on before cognitive decline progresses too far.
And let's not forget about the financial burden. We know that these new drugs are likely to be expensive. How do we ensure equitable access to these treatments? How do we prevent a scenario where only the wealthy can afford to slow down their cognitive decline?
That's a critical issue, and it speaks to the broader inequalities that plague our healthcare system. We need to advocate for policies that prioritize affordability and accessibility, ensuring that everyone who needs these treatments can get them regardless of their socioeconomic status.
Right. We can't create a system where the rich get to keep their minds sharp while the rest of us are left behind. That's just not right. But it's not just about the drugs, is it? It's about access to quality care and support services across the board.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We need to invest in a comprehensive system of dementia care that provides not only medical treatment, but also emotional support, social engagement, and practical assistance for both individuals with dementia and their caregivers.
It's about creating a community of support, a safety net that catches people when they fall and helps them navigate the challenges of this disease.
Exactly. And that requires a shift in societal attitudes. We need to move away from the stigma and fear surrounding dementia and embrace a more compassionate and inclusive approach.
I love that. A more compassionate and inclusive approach. It's about recognizing the humanity of people living with dementia, their inherent worth and dignity, even as their cognitive abilities decline.
It's about creating a world where people with dementia feel valued, supported, and empowered to live their lives to the fullest.
Well said. Okay, so we've talked about some of the ethical challenges, the access issues, the need for a more compassionate approach, but there's another big question looming on the horizon, isn't there? The impact of these advancements on our healthcare system as a whole.
Right. As these new treatments and technologies become more widely available, we're going to see a growing demand for dementia care services. That means more trained professionals, more specialized facilities, and a significant increase in healthcare spending.
It's a massive undertaking, and it's going to require a coordinated effort from policymakers, healthcare providers, researchers, and the community at large.
Absolutely. And it's not just about money. It's about rethinking how we deliver care, how we support caregivers, and how we integrate people with dementia into our communities.
We need to create a system that's not just about treating the disease, but about supporting the whole person, their families, and their communities. It's about recognizing that dementia is not just a medical issue, but a social and cultural one as well.
Well said. And as we move forward, it's essential that we engage in open and honest conversations about these complex issues, balancing the promise of scientific advancements with the need for ethical and equitable care.
We need to have these conversations now before these advancements become so widespread that we're caught off guard and unprepared for the challenges they present. We need to be proactive, not reactive.
Absolutely. It's about shaping the future of dementia care, ensuring that it's a future that prioritizes compassion, equity, and the well-being of all those affected by this complex disease.
On that note, I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the science of dementia to the ethics of care, and I hope our listeners are walking away with a sense of both the challenges and the possibilities that lie ahead.
It's been an honor to join you on this journey, and I hope our conversation has sparked some critical thinking and inspired our listeners to engage in these important conversations.
Thank you for listening to Reflect, one of the world's first 100% AI-generated podcasts. We'll continue to explore the frontiers of science, technology, and the human experience. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged.